Ladies and gentlemen, let us talk about a woman who walks alone. A woman who moves through this world with purpose, with courage, and with a quiet strength that does not require applause. She does not walk to be noticed. She does not seek validation. And she does not walk to fulfill some external expectation. She walks because it is her path, her journey, and her decision. It is a journey rooted in self-awareness, in understanding her own worth, and in being true to herself. The woman who walks alone is not a lonely soul, but a woman who understands the power of independence and self-reliance. She has recognized the truth that in order to be truly free, one must first be capable of standing alone. She understands that true strength comes not from the validation of others, but from the ability to stand firm in one's own beliefs, regardless of what the world may think. The woman who walks alone has already discovered the most important relationship in life, the relationship she has with herself. This bond is unbreakable because it is rooted in self-respect, love, and an unwavering commitment to her own growth. There will be moments in her life when others try to convince her that she is too independent, too strong, or too focused on her own journey. They will tell her that she should seek out companionship, that she should follow the crowd, or that she should bend to societal expectations. But she will not be swayed. She knows that her worth does not come from the approval of others, but from her own inner compass. She trusts herself, her intuition, and her ability to navigate the world on her own terms. The woman who walks alone is not defined by the relationships she has with others, but by the relationship she has with herself. She knows her own value, and she understands that in order to offer her best self to the world, she must first give that love and care to herself. Her independence is not a sign of weakness, but rather a testament to her strength. She understands that personal growth and development require time, reflection, and the courage to step away from the noise of the world. She may walk alone physically, but she is never alone in spirit. She walks with the wisdom that comes from knowing that her journey is uniquely her own. She walks with the power of conviction, knowing that every step she takes is a step toward her personal freedom, her fulfillment, and her true potential. Let us celebrate the woman who walks alone. Let us celebrate her courage, her strength, and her resilience. For in a world that often tries to define who we are, she reminds us that the truest form of power lies not in conforming, but in embracing our own path. The woman who walks alone shows us that we too can find the strength within ourselves to walk our own path, regardless of what others may think or say. And in doing so, we will find freedom, we will find purpose, and we will find the courage to live our lives authentically. A woman who walks alone is not just physically independent, but emotionally and mentally self-sufficient. This independence comes from her ability to connect deeply with her inner self, and to recognize the importance of self-discovery. In a world where external validation and societal approval are often sought after, she understands that the most valuable and lasting connection she can have is with herself. Self-discovery is a lifelong journey that requires patience, introspection, and a willingness to embrace the truth about who we are. A woman who walks alone knows that her worth and purpose are not defined by anyone else's expectations. Rather, they are defined by her own values, beliefs, and experiences. The path she chooses to take is one she carves for herself, guided by her intuition and an unwavering trust in her inner wisdom. This journey of self-discovery is not always easy. It involves confronting her fears, insecurities, and doubts. But a woman who walks alone does not shy away from these challenges. Instead, she faces them head-on, knowing that each obstacle is an opportunity to learn, grow, and become more aligned with her true self. She knows that through every challenge, she becomes stronger, more resilient, and more attuned to her own needs and desires. She also understands that her journey is unique and she does not compare herself to others. In a world that often encourages comparison, she chooses to celebrate her individuality. She knows that the road to self-discovery is personal and cannot be measured by anyone else's standards. While others may take different paths or seek external approval, she walks her own path with confidence, fully embracing who she is at every stage of the journey. The independence she cultivates through this self-discovery is not about isolation or rejection of others. It is about knowing that she is enough on her own. She understands that her happiness and fulfillment do not depend on anyone else's actions or opinions. Her sense of security comes from within, and she is not swayed by the fleeting judgments of the outside world. In choosing to walk alone, she is not walking away from connection or relationships. Rather, she is walking toward a deeper understanding of herself, which allows her to engage with others from a place of authenticity and strength. Her self-awareness empowers her to form meaningful relationships based on mutual respect and understanding, rather than dependency or the need for validation. A woman who walks alone is empowered by the knowledge that she does not need to conform to societal expectations or live according to anyone else's timeline. She is free to pursue her passions, make her own decisions, and define success on her own terms. Her strength comes from the deep understanding that true empowerment begins with self-discovery and the unwavering belief that she is capable of creating the life she desires. A woman who walks alone often carries with her the wisdom of knowing how to embrace solitude as a source of strength. This is not a solitude that comes from loneliness or a fear of rejection, but rather a solitude that stems from an understanding of its power and purpose. It is a state of being that allows her to connect deeply with her thoughts, emotions, and inner world without the distractions or influences of others. In a society that is constantly in motion, with its emphasis on external connection and social validation, the ability to find peace and purpose in solitude is a rare and profound strength. The power of solitude lies in its ability to provide clarity. When a woman chooses to be alone, she has the space to reflect on her life, her choices, and her desires without being overwhelmed by the noise of the outside world. In this space, she can listen to her own thoughts and intuitions, separate from the pressures of others' expectations. It is in solitude that she gains insight into her true self, into what she truly values, what she wants to achieve, and what she needs to do to live authentically. Solitude also allows a woman to heal. In the fast-paced world, we are often so focused on interacting with others and fulfilling external obligations that we neglect our own emotional well-being. Solitude offers her the time and space to confront and process her emotions, whether they are related to past wounds, present struggles, or future aspirations. By facing her emotions head-on, she can heal and grow stronger. It is in this quiet space that she can replenish her energy and reclaim her peace, without the need for external validation or approval. Healing becomes a personal journey, rather than something dependent on others' support or recognition. Solitude provides an opportunity for a woman to be unapologetically herself. In a world where societal pressures often dictate how women should behave or what they should pursue, walking alone offers the freedom to break free from these constraints. There are no external influences telling her what she should do, what she should look like, or how she should feel. Instead, she is free to define herself on her own terms. This sense of autonomy gives her the confidence to pursue her passions, dreams, and goals, knowing that she is in full control of her path. A woman learns to be self-reliant. She recognizes that she does not need anyone else to complete her or make her whole. She is enough as she is. Her self-worth is not determined by her relationships or the validation of others, but by her own sense of value and purpose. This independence is not about rejecting others, but about standing firm in the belief that she is whole and capable on her own. When she faces challenges, she does not look for someone else to solve her problems. She draws from her inner strength and resourcefulness to find solutions. Solitude helps her build resilience. By learning to stand alone and trust in her own abilities, she develops the strength to face life's inevitable obstacles. She becomes less reliant on external circumstances to define her happiness and success. The more she walks alone, the more she realizes that the power to create the life she wants resides within her. Solitude allows her to cultivate an unshakable confidence that comes from knowing she is capable of navigating life's ups and downs on her own terms. When a woman walks alone, she taps into a deep well of courage that empowers her to take risks and pursue her desires, unencumbered by the fears and limitations that might otherwise hold her back. The fear of judgment, rejection, or failure often keeps individuals tethered to their comfort zones, but solitude offers her the clarity to confront these fears head-on. When walking alone, she is forced to face challenges without the safety net of others, and this is where her true strength emerges. By stepping outside of societal expectations and personal insecurities, she begins to redefine what it means to be bold and brave. In the absence of others' voices, she has the opportunity to hear her own. The decision to walk alone is not an act of defiance, but an expression of profound self-trust. She no longer needs external approval to take action in her life. Without the need to seek permission or validation from others, she becomes free to make decisions that align with her core values. Every step she takes on her own path is an affirmation of her autonomy and an embrace of her own authority over her life. Walking alone requires an incredible amount of emotional fortitude. It forces her to stand in her own power and take responsibility for her happiness and success. In a world where so much emphasis is placed on finding others to fill the emotional gaps in our lives, a woman who walks alone learns that her happiness is not contingent upon anyone else. She is not waiting for someone to complete her or offer her a sense of worth. She creates her own fulfillment. With each moment spent alone, she gains confidence in her ability to be content and at peace without the need for external sources of joy or reassurance. Walking alone allows her to embrace her uniqueness. In a society that often seeks to mold people into predefined roles, solitude gives her the freedom to step outside of these narrow definitions. When she is alone, she can explore her authentic self, unfettered by the expectations of others. It is in this space that she can get to know herself on a deeper level, her strengths, her weaknesses, her passions, and her dreams. In solitude, she is not trying to meet someone else's standards or fit into a particular box. She is simply being herself. This act of embracing her individuality becomes an empowering journey that helps her forge a deeper connection to who she truly is. Walking alone teaches her the art of resilience and self-sufficiency. There is no one else to rely on, no one else to share the burdens of life with. She learns that her inner strength is enough to carry her through difficult times. Whether she faces personal setbacks, challenges in her career, or relationship struggles, she knows she has the mental and emotional endurance to navigate those storms on her own. This self-reliance, far from isolating her, actually fortifies her ability to engage with the world from a place of inner security and confidence. She becomes less reliant on others to dictate her sense of well-being, instead drawing from her own well of strength, wisdom, and intuition. Walking alone allows her to cultivate a deep sense of peace and self-awareness. Without the noise of the outside world clouding her judgment, she is able to truly listen to her thoughts and emotions. This allows her to make decisions that are not only aligned with her desires, but are also in harmony with her overall well-being. When she is no longer chasing the approval or affirmation of others, she becomes her own greatest supporter, creating a life built on the foundation of self-love and unwavering trust in her own journey. When a woman walks alone, she also learns the art of independence, which is perhaps one of the most powerful forms of freedom she can experience. Independence is not simply about being alone, it is the ability to make decisions, solve problems, and navigate life on her own terms. Walking alone means she does not need to wait for permission or validation from others to live her life. In this journey of solitude, she is liberated from the need for constant external support or direction. This independence gives her the power to choose her path freely, without being tethered to someone else's expectations or judgments. Independence provides a unique sense of personal growth, as it forces her to cultivate the skills necessary to thrive on her own. It requires her to rely on her own resourcefulness and resilience to overcome challenges. This might mean learning to manage her finances, set boundaries in relationships, or take on new roles in her career. The more she walks alone, the more competent and confident she becomes in handling the ups and downs of life. There is no one to fall back on but herself, and this pushes her to stretch her limits and grow beyond what she thought was possible. In addition to practical independence, emotional independence is a key aspect of walking alone. A woman who walks alone learns that her emotional well-being is in her own hands. She is no longer dependent on others to fill emotional voids or make her feel valued. Instead, she develops the capacity to love herself and take care of her emotional needs independently. This emotional autonomy not only boosts her confidence but also strengthens her relationships. When she is whole on her own, she brings a deeper sense of self-awareness and emotional stability into her interactions with others. Independence also provides her with the space to cultivate her passions and dreams without compromise. She is free to invest time in what truly excites her and contributes to her sense of fulfillment. Whether it's pursuing a new career, embarking on a creative project, or traveling the world, walking alone opens up opportunities for personal exploration that might not be possible if she were constantly concerned with the opinions or approval of others. She has the power to design her own life and follow her unique path, knowing that the journey is hers to make. Independence teaches her the importance of self-reliance and decision-making. When walking alone, every choice becomes an act of personal responsibility. She can't delegate the decision-making process or look to others for answers. Whether the choices are big or small, she must face the consequences of her decisions on her own. This not only strengthens her character but also boosts her sense of agency as she becomes more comfortable with trusting her judgment and intuition. In a world that often tells us to look to others for guidance, walking alone encourages her to listen to her inner voice and make decisions that align with her true values. The journey of independence is not always easy, and it often involves moments of doubt and vulnerability. But as she learns to navigate life on her own, she becomes more attuned to her strengths and limitations. She also becomes less fearful of failure, because she understands that it is through failure that growth occurs. Each misstep is a lesson, and each challenge is an opportunity to build resilience. Walking alone doesn't mean never stumbling, but rather it means having the strength to rise each time and continue the journey, knowing that she is capable of handling whatever comes her way. A woman who walks alone often develops a deep connection with her inner self, a sense of peace that transcends external circumstances. When she chooses to walk alone, she enters a space where the noise of the world fades into the background, and she can truly listen to her thoughts, feelings, and intuition. In this solitude, she has the opportunity to discover who she is at her core, independent of the influences or expectations of society, family, or even romantic partners. It is a time of self-discovery where she can reflect on her desires, dreams, and values without distraction. This connection to her inner self fosters a profound sense of self-awareness. It allows her to understand not just what she wants, but why she wants it, what motivates her. What are the beliefs and experiences that have shaped her identity? Walking alone provides a space for such deep introspection. It allows her to separate her true desires from the expectations placed upon her by others, freeing her from the need to conform or seek validation from external sources. She learns to trust her own instincts and recognize her worth without needing anyone else to confirm it. When a woman walks alone, she also becomes more attuned to her emotional landscape. She learns how to sit with her emotions without the need to escape or mask them. In the absence of external distractions, she can identify what she truly feels and why. This emotional intelligence allows her to navigate the ups and downs of life with grace and resilience. She doesn't shy away from the difficult emotions, but instead embraces them as part of the human experience. This creates a powerful internal foundation from which she can move forward, confident in her ability to handle whatever comes her way. This connection to her inner self also nurtures a sense of independence that extends beyond external circumstances. A woman who walks alone no longer feels the need to be defined by the roles or labels that society imposes on her. She is not just a daughter, a partner, or mother. She is a whole person with her own desires, passions, and path to follow. She understands that her value is not contingent upon her relationship status or how others perceive her. She is inherently worthy, and this understanding allows her to step into the world with a quiet confidence, knowing that she is enough just as she is. This internal connection provides a sense of peace that cannot be shaken by the turbulence of life. When external events challenge her, she can return to this inner space of stillness, where she finds solace and strength. She learns that, despite the chaos and uncertainty of the world around her, she can remain centered within herself. This sense of inner peace doesn't come from avoiding challenges or seeking external validation, but from facing them head-on, knowing that her true strength lies within her own soul. Walking alone also allows her to explore her spirituality and personal philosophy, free from external pressures or expectations. It is an opportunity to cultivate a deep sense of purpose and meaning in her life. Whether through meditation, nature walks, journaling, or other forms of self-reflection, she finds ways to connect to something greater than herself. This spiritual grounding gives her the courage to face life's challenges with unwavering faith in her own abilities. She continues her journey. This connection to her inner self grows stronger, and she becomes more in tune with the rhythms of her own life. She is no longer dependent on external sources for validation or direction. Instead, she is rooted in her own truth, able to navigate life's journey with confidence, peace, and a deep sense of self-awareness. A woman who walks alone also develops an undeniable strength that comes from the realization that she can rely on herself in any situation. This strength isn't just physical, it is mental, emotional, and spiritual. It is a resilience that emerges not from avoiding difficulties, but from facing them head-on, alone, and learning how to overcome them. When a woman walks alone, she faces the world on her own terms, making her own decisions and taking responsibility for her actions. This independence builds a fortitude that cannot be shaken by outside forces. It is in the moments when she is alone that she taps into her deepest reserves of strength. In her solitude, she also gains the clarity to prioritize what truly matters to her. She doesn't seek validation from others or make decisions based on external expectations. Instead, she takes the time to ask herself the important questions: what is my true purpose? What do I want out of life? What makes me feel fulfilled and alive? Walking alone provides the space for this kind of reflection, allowing her to understand what she values most and how she wants to live her life. With this clarity, she makes decisions that are aligned with her inner truth, not influenced by the opinions or judgments of others. This gives her the power to create a life that is uniquely her own, one that resonates with her deepest desires and passions. She doesn't compromise her values or settle for less than what she deserves. Her ability to stand firm in her own beliefs and values creates a sense of stability and purpose, which in turn strengthens her resolve and fortifies her path forward. Walking alone teaches her to embrace discomfort and uncertainty, knowing that they are part of the journey. Life is unpredictable, and while walking alone, she learns to navigate this uncertainty with grace and patience. She understands that discomfort and struggle are temporary, and they do not define her. What matters is how she handles adversity, how she continues to move forward despite challenges, and how she rises after every fall. This creates a resilient spirit that is unbreakable, because it is built on the foundation of self-trust. Through the process of walking alone, she also becomes more attuned to the power of her intuition. She learns to trust her gut, to follow her inner compass, even when the world around her may not understand or support her choices. This intuitive strength is invaluable, as it allows her to make decisions that are true to herself, even when the path ahead is unclear. She knows that she has the wisdom within her to navigate through any situation, and she becomes increasingly confident in her ability to make the right choices for her life. Walking alone teaches her that her strength comes not from avoiding challenges, but from facing them with courage, conviction, and an unwavering belief in her own abilities. She learns that being alone is not a weakness, but a powerful tool for growth, self-discovery, and empowerment. The woman who walks alone understands that she is capable of handling anything that comes her way, and her strength lies in her ability to trust herself, even when the world around her seems uncertain.